Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm done with BlockDAG. I've reached my own conclusion. Markets don't move randomly, they move in patterns, driven by behavior, structure, and narrative. All of this comes from a personal place. I was a pre-sale investor, and this wasn't something short-term. I followed BlockDAG for years, waiting for the moment it finally reached listing. My goal was simple: buy early before the token exists in the market. Wait, then sell when the token is listed, when liquidity is available. That's the basic pre-sale model. But what actually happened didn't follow that structure. What I experienced instead was a different sequence: repeated delays, shifting timelines, a pre-sale phase that kept extending, even as expectations were being built around listing. And even after listing, the pre-sale didn't really end. It continued, just under different terms. At the same time, a narrative was being built. Growth strategy, price stability, preventing dump. On the surface, it sounds reasonable, structured, controlled, intentional. But reality shows something else. After sale continued, even at prices significantly lower than what was available on the exchange. So while one side talks about stability, the other side introduces continuous supply at lower levels. Then listing finally came, but during early price movement, access wasn't there. So while price expanded, pre-sale participants couldn't fully participate. And when access finally became available, the structure had already changed. My balance showed around $2,930. But when I tried to exit, the actual value I could execute was around $22 and finalized near $14. At that point, the outcome becomes very simple: sell and accept a loss of more than 99%, or hold and stay in a deep drawdown with no clear timeline for recovery after waiting for years. That's the reality I experienced. And this is where the narrative meets the outcome. Preventing dump. Yes, in a way, it worked. It didn't just prevent a dump, it went further. It delivered a drawdown of more than 99%. Price stability. Yes, that also worked. The price became stable at a level where there's almost nothing left to move. Growth strategy. Yes, that worked too. It created growth in expectations, but not in realized outcomes. And the result for pre-sale participants? A situation where taking action becomes difficult because the choices are reduced to two: realize a loss of more than 99%, or hold and remain in uncertainty with no clear path back to entry. That's not a complex decision. It's a constrained one. This isn't about calling anything a scam. I'm not making that claim. But from my perspective, this sequence, this structure, this outcome is not a good experience for an investor. Because the expectation was clear. Early participation should lead to a fair opportunity to realize value at listing. When that doesn't happen, the structure speaks for itself. Value was visible, but not executable when it mattered. Liquidity appeared, but not at the moment of exit. Access came after the opportunity had already passed. And that gap is where everything changes. For me personally, that's enough. All the time I spent waiting, all the expectations built over years, ended in a result that doesn't align with what I signed up for. So yes, for me personally, this turned into a bad experience. And this conclusion is mine, based on what I saw, what I experienced, and what I was able to execute. You don't have to agree, you can come to your own conclusion. But for me, this is where it ends. To everyone who followed this journey with me, thank you. This wasn't just analysis, this was real. And now, we move forward. Focus on execution, not narrative. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. If you found this useful, like, comment, and subscribe to Bias Positive Digital Rise.